Well, good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you may be. At the time of this recording, it is about 9:15 a.m. On today's lesson, I am going to teach you adjectives to describe a place. Adjectives to describe a place. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention because I have several adjectives and maybe just a few phrases that you can use to describe a particular place or area. As always, I am going to have a few quiz questions throughout today's lesson. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention so you can interact with me and get those questions correctly. You know, sometimes learning English, as I have been preaching lately here on the channel, it can be a little tiresome and take a lot of twists and turns. But if you continue to practice, you can definitely get better. So when we talk about an adjective is simply a descriptive word or phrase. Now, you don't have to just describe a place with an adjective. You can describe a person, you can describe a thing. So those are the type words that you would use when you are being descriptive and adjective. So let's look at a few adjectives to describe a location or a place. A place can be famous. A place can be famous. And usually a place is famous because of a particular event. It can be a historic event. It can be a monument there that makes that particular place or location famous. So I believe it's in France. It's famous because of the Eiffel Tower. Here in the state of Georgia, in downtown Atlanta, it is famous because of one reason, because of the Martin Luther King monument, as well as the Ebenezer Baptist Church that he attended. That makes that location famous. So think about your area. What makes your area famous? It could be it could be pricey or an expensive place. It could be a place that's known for its poverty. It could be a place that is famous because of a particular sporting team, or an athlete may live there. So a number of things can make a place famous. You just have to be able to identify it. Expensive. Expensive is an adjective to describe a place where it will require a lot of money to live there. Here in the photo, I have a picture of San Francisco, and it is a beautiful city. It has a number of bridges because there is a lot of water in the area. But San Francisco is quite expensive to live. There are some people making upwards, according to reports, of $100,000 or more a year, and they are homeless. That lets me know that it is a very expensive place to live. Sometimes it can be expensive to live in a particular place because there is a lot of industry there. There are a lot of businesses there. There is a place here in the United States called, or what they call, Silicon Valley. And so it's where Google is, I believe, Sony or PlayStation. And there are a lot of tech companies in the area, and it's quite an expensive area to live in. So think about your area and what particular city or location can you describe as being expensive? Here in the Atlanta area, there's an area called Buckhead, and it is known for being upscale. That's another word that describes a expensive place, an upscale particular community. Crowded. There are some places I necessarily don't want to live there, but I don't even like to visit because it's very crowded. It's populated with a lot of people. And so big cities like Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, these are famous cities, but they are also crowded. I mean, it's just people everywhere. And for some people, they enjoy that. Some people enjoy living in crowded communities because there may be a lot of activities. But personally, I don't prefer living in crowded destinations. I believe to each its own. And that's a phrase that we use to say that everyone is different. Everyone has their own personality and their own particular taste. So some communities are just crowded. Huge. Now, there are some places it's just huge, or the building structures are huge. They take up a lot of space, or you may see a particular building or a residence that has a lot of acreage and it's just huge. A mansion may sit on the property and it's huge. There is a city in North Carolina called Asheville, and it is known, or it is famous for having an estate called the Biltmore Estate. And it was a man and his family who had millions of dollars, and they opened up the mansion to the public to come and take tours. I mean, the property is so huge. He has huge swimming pools. He even has a bowling alley in the bottom of his home. There are some cities that we have here in the United States that have amusement parks, and they are huge. Cedar Point up in Ohio is huge, and it has huge roller coasters. Here in Georgia, we have an amusement park called Six Flags, and it is huge. I think it has probably 10 roller coasters, and these are pretty big roller coasters. It's one called the Goliath. And so different places you can describe as just being huge or grand. Okay. I see we have some new people here watching the lesson today. I want to welcome you to today's class. Feel free to drop down in the chat section and leave a comment. Thank you so much for joining us. Lively. Now, there are some locations that you go to that are lively. There is, how do they describe it? At night, there's a lot of nightlife, a lot of partying, a lot of clubs, bars that people go to. There's just a lot of motion going on, and it's not a boring place. Usually, inner cities or metropolitan cities or cosmopolitan cities have a lot of things to do. You know, if you live in the country, it's usually a slower pace, but in the city, it's just lively. You know, things are always going on. The city, as we say, never sleeps. It's just so much to do, so many activities. And that place you would describe as being lively. Now, unfortunately, there are some places that are run down. Now, when a place is run down, it's usually abandoned. Sometimes it's not kept up well. The grass is not cut. the building or the place needs to be painted. It's outdated. The flooring may need to be changed. It may need to be painted. So there are some places that are run down, and they're so run down, you don't go there after dark. Because some places that are run down are known for having a lot of crime. And so you try to stay away from those type places because it is run down. Peaceful. There's some places that you visit, they're peaceful. Many people like to go camping because it's not crowded and it is peaceful. So you could describe, I like to go on vacation here because it is peaceful. I go to the beach and I go to sleep there because I hear the waves and it's just peaceful. Okay. Or some people like to go to the park and take their dog and walk their dog because they consider it to be peaceful. So there are just so many different places. You can go in your backyard and describe your backyard as being peaceful, especially if it's a lot of area to walk around, and you may have a garden. Actually, my neighbor, they've cleared out their yard so they can have a place of peace. And I believe they're going to put a garden in and trees so they can just go back there and have a calm place to stay. Okay, here's today's first pop quiz question in our first section, and it's a fill in the blank. So let's see if you were paying attention. I don't want to live there because it is too blank with people. I don't want to live there because it is too blank with people. All right, we have Joseph who left a comment here. It's not actually the answer, but he says that the harder you do, the easy you achieve, or the easier you achieve. Yeah, that is true. The harder you go, I believe he wants to say, the harder you go, or the harder you work, the easier it becomes to achieve things. So thank you so much for that comment. If you can answer this question correctly, make sure you leave it down in the comments section. Let's continue to our next section. A rural place. A rural place. Now, a rural place is a place that is not crowded, but we consider it country. We consider it to be a country place. So in a rural place, there may be farms, a lot of land, not a lot of, not a lot of city life or city living. So that's what you would consider to be a rural place, in my estimation. Okay. And that's correct, Joseph. You got today's quiz question correct. I hope by now I didn't ruin it for everyone, but great job. Great job. So that is how you would describe a rural place, a place that is not in the city, but in the country. Now, let me know down in the comments section, what is the major city in your area and what's it called, as well as what is a rural destination? I would love to hear about your country. What is the closest major city and what is the city called that is rural? Let me know down in the comments section. Historic. There are some places that are historic. Okay. I talked about earlier how some locations have historical value. Okay. Something popular happened there. So I believe it's in Memphis, Tennessee, It's where Martin Luther King was assassinated. Then you have different places in Washington, D.C., where Kennedy was. I believe it was D.C. where Kennedy was assassinated, or Reagan was had an assassination attempt. These are two former presidents. So a number of things can make a location historic. We have a city close to where I live to where it is known for movies being filmed there. The television show that comes on AMC, The Walking Dead, is filmed there. So now that community is historic because of the movie or the television series, The Walking Dead, being filmed there. Another way you can describe a place using an adjective is a polluted place. Okay. Some places are known for its pollution. Okay. It's smog. New York. It's polluted. It's a nice city, but it is a little dirty. San Francisco, which I spoke about earlier, is known for its fog. Okay. It has a dense fog in that particular city. So there are a number of reasons a location can be polluted. It could be a factory there. And so the air is quite thick and it's hard to breathe, and it's a dirty air and it's a little unhealthy. And so we would describe that as being polluted. Bustling. There are some communities or locations you would describe as bustling. Actually, we say the hustle and bustle. Okay. So it's a lot of moving on, a lot of transactions, a lot of action taking place. And so you would say it's a bustling city, or the university is bustling with people. So everyone's moving. No one's sitting still. It's bustling. And finally, a boring place. Some places are just boring. Okay. It's nothing to do. It's very slow. It's not a lot of hustle and bustle. It is just boring. I mean, you'll go to sleep. You'll nod off. And so this is how you describe certain places that you may know about or that you may visit. Okay, here's our last pop quiz question for today's lesson. What adjectives can you use to describe your area? So where you live, what adjectives that we have learned today would you use to describe it? I want you, as best as you can, to leave that down in the comment section and explain it to me. Is it boring? Is it crowded? Is it polluted? Is it expensive? Let me know down in the comments section, and I will reply to your comment a little later. Well, I want to thank you so much for watching today's lesson. I have really enjoyed spending time with you, and I hope that these few moments in this lesson have helped you to understand and speak English just a little bit better. Be sure to join me on my next lesson, as well as check out some of these other videos that I have here on the channel to help you understand and speak better English. Be sure to give me a like if you have enjoyed today's lesson, because that would show me that you really appreciate what I'm doing. I'll catch you next time. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed today's lesson, be sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button. Also, enjoy these videos that will help you understand and speak better English. My name is Jay, and I hope you join me on my next lesson.